Hey, everybody. Oh, right off the bat, JJ says hi. Hi, JJ. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Live with Mary Remer. This is episode 9. This is at our new time, which is going to be the established time going forward. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a bunch of questions to get to, but please continue to send in your questions. Also, anybody from last week that we mentioned, you can still upload a video. We would love to see it so we can follow up with you live. But you're not here to listen to me talk. You are here to see Ms. Mary. Mary, how are you?
Hey, Terry, how are you? I hope you got a chance to get out and enjoy this gorgeous day. Wasn't it fabulous?
It was wonderful. Did you get out as well?
I did. I had the opportunity to be out with the dogs for the better part of the morning, and we had the baby pool set up, and it was Splash City, I'll say.
Sounds
Everybody had a great time. And now my pigs are in the pool, which is always adventurous, I can tell you that. It also changes the shape of the pool, but that's okay
that
as long as
sounds
everybody's happy.
that sounds absolutely fantastic. We are going to jump right in. Mary has a message for everybody. While there are many joys of adding a new puppy to the household, we have to be diligent about making sure that our established members of our household are getting plenty of focus and attention.
Right. So the great thing is that many of our shelters are clearing out, and the dogs and the puppies are finding homes, which is absolutely fantastic, and it's just what we want. I do think about households where there are already adult members of the canine variety, and that when the new ones come in, there's a lot of focus on the new ones, and we have to, I think, keep playing. I shouldn't say I think, I believe that we have to keep paying a lot of attention to our dogs that have already been there and making sure that they get private time with us and their own play time, their own walks, their own snuggle time, and all of that. Because you can keep adding to puppies and their freedoms and what they get, as well as young dogs coming in. It's harder to take away. So, what they don't know, they don't miss. So, but your established dogs that have been there, they do know what the routine should look like during any given day, and that's what they want. So, it's just something to think about. Yes, please rescue, do all those wonderful things, but be sure to nourish your established dogs.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for the wonderful message. Also, coming in several places, Mary, are people wishing you a happy belated birthday.
Oh, Terry, you get to that point where you're accumulating years, and sometimes hoarding, I think, is not a good sport. So I would be okay to give some of my years away at this point. But thank you, everybody, for that. I appreciate it.
And here we go with questions. Like I said, everybody, feel free to ask on the live stream on Instagram, ask on the live stream on YouTube, ask on the live stream on Facebook. We love your questions. And here we go. Our dog is very friendly with other dogs when we are walking, but barks fiercely at them from the back seat of the car when we are going somewhere. How can we calm her? And that's from Jennifer on Instagram.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks so much for your question. So my question would be, it may be a game. So because we see a lot of that, and I'd be interested to know the breed or mix of breeds. But oftentimes what happens is when you're going by in the car and the dogs see another, they're barking and having comment about that, and then magically that dog disappears. And so some dogs can think, job well done, let me do that again. So it really can be a bit of a game. And sometimes what we do is to get one of those shades that you use for kids and pop that on the window in the back and pull it down. And then we start rewarding for lying down, calm behavior in the back seat. I would start this with, if you have a friend with a dog, if you just could be on the street, not driving, and you can sit in the back in the beginning with your dog and reward the calm and the quiet with really, really high value treats. And then you move yourself to the front, reward, reward, reward when somebody goes by. And then we can build up to driving and, you know, see if you can get some different neighbors and friends to help you, because it will be perfectly easy to practice social distancing doing that. And also, if you want, I'm more than happy to look at a video of what happens with that. So we could do that as well. So that would be my suggestion there. You just have to ease into it. And the other thing you can do is, if you really feel that it's a problem, you can get something for her to do in the car, like a stuffed Kong or something like that. Okay, try it. More than happy to look at a video though, because then I can actually see what the behavior is about. I'm conjecturing. So I'm giving you what I imagine, but I would just have to see it to be sure. Okay?
And speaking of those videos, I do see Booksta's best friend. We were hoping for some video from you, so if that can still be sent over, we would love, love, love to comment on that. But in the meantime, Sammy's Lash is asking this right now. Hi, how do I help my dog if she, Chelsea Andrew, gets extremely scared when she hears loud noises outside? She pulls like crazy and tried to get home as quickly as possible.
Okay, Terry, can you pop that up on a screen for me for just a second?
Let me prep that. Let me give you another one while I prep that, if you don't mind, because that one just came in. Hello. Our backyard backs up to woods, and we have a fox that passes through. It's become more brazen and come closer to the house. One time, my dog Dory chased him, and normally once he sees us and her out there, he just runs away. I never worried too much because he cannot prey on her, but recently he came up and got very close to her and let out a very large screech. Dory was baffled and wanted to play. I'm worried that he might be marking his territory and wonder if you have any ideas to teach Dory friend versus foe.
Well, so here's what I have to say about that. A couple of things. First of all, dogs and foxes, interestingly enough, will play. And I have had some incidents here where I live where the dogs and the foxes actually would meet at a certain time of the day in the evening, and there would be a little interaction. And then the fox would go away and the dog would go away. This would happen particularly if it was one dog and the fox would come out. Why it happens, I don't know. It may be that the fox is in heat. That's a possibility. And foxes actually can survive very well in the city, and they can become quite humanized. So my understanding that is that as time has gone on, more and more people are seeing this. The foxes are getting more brazen. So I would let Dory figure it out on her own. The only thing that I would check is that the fox isn't mangy. They can carry diseases, of course, like the mange, and they can also carry rabies.
The audio is terrible unless I put my headset in.
So we have to be sure about that. So I'm not so sure, really thinking about it, that I would encourage Dory to be friends. I would encourage Dory to chase the fox and get it out of there. And I might go so far as to putting a bell on her collar so she makes more noise when she goes out. And I would encourage a chase more than a play. I think it's probably safer in the big picture just because we don't know. But I have foxes now coming up right up to our downstairs back door. And like most every night, the dogs do chase them away, but they are persistently coming up, and they are looking here anyway, perfectly healthy. But I would encourage pursuit and not play.
Okay, so circling back on that other question, how do I help my dog if she gets extremely scared when she hears loud noises outside? She pulls like crazy and tries to get home as quickly as possible. And that's from Sammy Slash on Instagram.
Hi, Sammy Slash. I am sorry to hear that. So what I would like to know is how old is the dog? What kind of a dog, or mixed breed or mix of breeds? And how long has it been going on? You can get some music, old tapes, through a dog's ear, they're called, and also on Instagram, or no, let me think now. YouTube, you can get some playing of sounds that might be upsetting to dogs, and you would desensitize her at home by playing them at very, very low volume to start with a very pleasant activity, like something she likes to do, like play a game or something like that.
Mary, I've got a follow-up here. She's 3, a boxer, and has had this problem most of her life.
Okay, all right. So I still would probably try to desensitize her in the house. And then what I would do is I would see if I could distract her with a game, like a go hunt game. And can you tell me if this happens, how many times a week does it happen? On how many walks? And do you walk every day, twice a day, 3 times a day? When is it most apt to happen? So I'm looking for something that can distract her and at the same time give her comfort. So I'm wondering if we can teach her, if she is loves her food, if we can have some really high value treats for her and teach her a go hunt game, not in the presence of the noise to begin with, but we start it up. Yeah.
She says it happens on most walks. She walks every day with her, and mostly trucks, and she loves food.
Okay. Are you able to go on a walk where she wouldn't be exposed to the sounds of trucks? Is that a possibility?
We'll give that a second.
Okay, so what you would do is you would take some, as I say, really high value treats that you can mix in with her dry food, if that's what you feed her. And you can teach her, we call it a go hunt game, where you would just drop a handful of food on the ground that's easily accessible to her and tell her go hunt or find or whatever, search, whatever word you want to use. Okay, and let her get involved in that game. And then very, very slowly, we would add some sounds of trucks, but I'd love it if you could be removed initially from those sounds, because it's just a deconditioning that has to happen, and we need to use distance as a friend. And
she does say that she could go to an area that there aren't trucks, so she could get around it.
Okay, well, does she like the idea of the go hunt game? Would she be willing to teach her that?
Says yes, I suppose so.
Okay, great. So you don't have to feed her everything out of a bowl. Let her learn that really wonderful things happen when she's walking because she gets to eat. Okay. And when she's doing the eating, that should help her calm in her mind if she's pretty avid about her food. So again, let's start by taking her away from what's upsetting to her, walk another way for the week, and just take, as I say, you don't even have to feed her any of her food out of the bowl. She can get it all by doing a go hunt game on your walk. And mix that in, as I say, some days it's chicken, some days it's steak, some days it's pasta, some days it's hot dogs, nuked hot dogs, whatever she would love. So she really gets excited about getting out and going on the walk to get that food. So it would be great if you would be willing to try that this week and then let us know next week your progress. And then I'll talk to you about how to move in a little closer depending on how we're going. I think you'll find she'll like the game.
And she says thank you, and she will give it a try. Folks, that is what it's all about. We have access to Mary Remer right now. So if you have a question, we can have a whole dialogue happening. Thank you so much, Sammy Slash. Let's move on to Leah with a pretty simple question. Is your facility in Fraser open for daycare?
We are on a limited basis. We're really in a catch-22 because we do have an exemption. And we've had one, so we can be open. We're very worried about wanting to make sure that our staff is safe, and of course that anybody who brings their dog in is safe. So we have been primarily trying to offer our services to people on the front lines that are having to work oftentimes these much longer shifts, and they're often teams, and both people in the household are working these long shifts, and so they can't be home to take care of the dogs. So we've been trying to support our community in that way. We are beginning to open up a little bit more now. And of course, if we have dogs that are really struggling not to have daycare and we can get them in, we're trying to do that. So we're just trying to be safe is the best I can tell you. So yeah, if you have a need, then we're going to try to help you. So give a call.
Okay, this is actually from the previous live stream. Most of the questions here are for young dogs. I have a question for my 14-year-old lab. What can I do to make sure she is comfortable and dealing well with living with a 9-month-old puppy? Any ideas? Thanks for all you guys are doing. Rita.
Oh, Rita, you're speaking right to my message. I love that you asked that question. So yes, there's plenty that you can do. 9-month-old puppies are in the adolescent period, of course. And so they're a lot. They have a lot of energy. They kind of want to push the limits a little bit, and they can be a lot to manage. And they certainly can be a lot to manage for a 14-year-old. So I would try to keep your 14-year-old on the schedule that he or she is very used to, and keep the interactions between the two in a way that is, you're not pushing your 14-year-old beyond tolerance. Okay, your 14-year-old is saying to you, yeah, I can handle this interaction. This is fine with me. But you don't get to a point where the 14-year-old looks at you and kind of, they sort of have droopy eyes and they look up at you and they go, really? This is just too much. So separation is a good thing, and keeping the interactions, as I say, at a lower rather than a higher level is very good. And then trying to keep that routine for your 14-year-old the way that they've always known it. That is very, very supportive. And the 14-year-old, of course, gets all the privileges. And the 9-month-old gets what you want to give. But remember, what they don't know, they don't miss. So we don't want to take anything away from your 14-year-old. We want to, if anything, add. So more hugs, maybe a car ride, maybe their own walk, maybe a little ride to Rita's when Rita's reopens, that kind of thing, so that they still feel that they're number one in your heart.
Okay, this one comes to us from Instagram and was asked just now. She says, "Hi, our puppy is 6 months and aggressively grabs the leash and plays tug with it, even when not provoked by us." That is from B. Downey.
Hi, B. Downey. You'll be glad to know that your puppy is in the category of normal. Isn't that good to know? So there are a couple things you can do. Number one, is it a retriever or does it have retriever in the mix? If so, carrying something is soothing to retrievers, and if there is DNA that is retriever in the mix, it will be genetically resonating to want to hold something. It gives comfort. So you can teach them to carry a knotted hand towel, a favorite stuffed toy, anything like that, even a stick if that's what you like, and train that so that becomes the preferred item rather than the leash. You can also put a little bitter apple on that leash, something that doesn't taste good. You can put a little Vicks Vapo Rub on the leash. You want to have the puppy get to carrying something before it starts to turn and want to grab the leash. The other question I would have is, does it grab the leash when you're starting to go home from the walk? In other words, saying, I don't really want to go home. Yeah, let's keep walking.
I've got some answers for you.
Okay.
It's a hound, large breed, and she loves sticks and carrying them.
Perfect. So that's great. So teach her to carry the stick. You can start to use a cue, okay, and give rewards. And the hounds also love food. So you can use food, teach a little carry cue. You can find plenty of videos on YouTube about that. And you can teach a carry cue and be inspirational about that. And then also, why don't you switch to a chain leash for a little while? Metal doesn't tend to taste very good to dogs. And that, I think, might help you. It would be just an easy deterrent. And go with the sticks.
Okay, and let's go to John from Facebook. John says, "I've never had a dog before that drools when I'm eating a snack until now. Is there any way to get my dog to stop drooling?"
Absolutely, John. Stop eating snacks. No problem. Okay, so it's very Pavlovian, so the dog sees you eating the snack and the physical reaction is the drool response because there's a stimulation there. So I would put the dog perhaps on a mat, teach it a mat behavior, and then you can toss some treats over there for the dog until we get past that. By the way, is the dog hungry? I'm only kidding, really. So yes, it's a very Pavlovian response, absolutely.
Okay, we're going to go to Carol, who actually provided a video. "Our dog loves our son a bit too much and often nips at his clothing. It seems like it's just love, but we're still a bit worried about it." And I'm going to go to the video now.
Not still clenching, is it? Let me see. Let me take a look. Where is it? Let me see your elbow. All right, it looks good.
Not laughing. I see.
So we saw it right there at the end.
Yep. Okay, Carol. Well, first of all, what an absolutely cute and adorable puppy. So this is a situation where you've got sort of a litter mate thing going on here between your son, also adorable, and your cute puppy. And the puppy is trying to invite a play. Okay, he's soft and curvy, and that shirt is just sitting right there and is so delightfully grabbable. And so it's an invitation. He's not speaking human well enough yet, and not understanding how to invite the play in that's acceptable to humans. So first of all, I would keep a light line on the puppy in the house. And I think that what you have to sort of monitor both, because inadvertently, the little people can start offering gestures that the puppy will regard as an invitation for play. So if I saw it correctly, I could see his hands kind of up in the air, which I think is him being worried that the puppy is going to grab something. Okay, and I think that that, of course, to the puppy, it sort of, he's kind of like following the motion, and he's like, oh, maybe we're going to play now. Okay, but he actually looks like a very sweet and soft puppy. So I would keep a light line on him, and I would teach him some appropriate play, like some little retrieving games that you and your son can do with him together. Okay, well, you're really monitoring that. So your son can't really be expected to manage the puppy in these situations really at all. Okay, so I would try to maybe create some interactions where you teach the puppy a trick, like sit. Not that sit's really a trick, but we can have it as a little trick for your son, or roll over, or show me your belly, give a paw if that's what you like. These kinds of interactions. Go for a walk together. And then at times when your son wants to be active, that's the time for the puppy to have maybe a little more downtime or be with you and your rewarding calm behavior, like lying down on a mat when your son's running around. So it's just a little bit more management, probably on your part, but honestly, it looks like a very sweet, lovely puppy who just doesn't quite know how to ask for interaction.
Okay, this is an interesting one. My 5-year-old bulldog has been prescribed doggy Xanax, that's in quotes, for her anxiety. This seems like a little bit much, but I also struggle from anxiety, so I do believe in medication. What are your thoughts on prescriptions for dogs?
My thoughts, Julie, are that there are dogs that have issues of anxiety, and they are helped with medication. And I'm a believer in whatever we can do to help, that's what we should do. I also work with service dogs for people that have anxiety, and these dogs are taught to indicate and help people when their anxiety goes up the scale. So it may be that your dog is responding when you might be feeling anxiety, and that may be sometimes the tenor in your household, and the dogs feel it, and they respond accordingly. So because we're always pushing off all kinds of pheromones and hormones and adrenalines and all kinds of things, and the dogs are very sensitive to those, and they read us very, very well according to where we are in our own barometers. So I think that what you're pointing out is very astute, and you may be sort of having a little bit of a ping-ponging back and forth between the two of you, if that makes sense. And I think if your bulldog is helped by anti-anxiety medication, I would absolutely use it. And I also would say, in conjunction with that, you could start trying to teach some self-soothing as well by giving her things to chew on, getting her more tired during the day, that kind of thing.
Okay. Is it safe for a 5-year-old golden doodle to board long-term 2 months during COVID-19? That is from Jody.
Hi, Jody. So what I would say about that is what we find is that 2 months is a long time. And if we have people that have situations where they have to board for that long of a period, we do introduce the concept of boarding over a period of time, so that we kind of start to try to build the dog to the idea of time. And we work very hard on making, trying to make the boarding stay for the dog as the least amount of stress as possible by changing things up. So we don't do the same thing with them every day. We try to be very creative, and because they can get, I'll say, a boardingitis or a kennelitis, if you will. It is a long time. So I think that they have to be conditioned for it, and you have to work with the people at the facility to make sure that they are vigilant and what they can do, what their facility is able to do over a 2-month period for your dog. But yeah, 2 months, we've had them as long as 3, 4, and 5 months, which is really, really a long time for them, so yeah, it's hard, stressful. And then of course, a lot depends on the temperament of your dog and what they're used to and have been used to as far as their boarding and their boarding stays go.
Okay, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for this session. Although, you know what? Let me actually read this one last one. Mary, I love, love, love the picture behind you in the videos that we see. Can you talk to me a little bit about that artwork?
Oh, thank you so much. That is a portrait done by an artist named Christine Merrill from Maryland. And I was extremely blessed to have known her. My ex-husband and I knew her when she was just really starting. Now she's very famous. But anyway, we were able to get this portrait done, and it was the dogs that we had at the time, along with the pig. And so that's who all those dogs are. Thank you for noticing that. They're all treasures to me. So thank you so much.
And you certainly are a treasure to us, Mary. Thank you so much for your
Jerry,
wonderful.
you're the best.
I had to go there. Thank you so much for being with us as always. And thank you, everybody out there, for being with us and for asking such wonderful questions. Just a reminder, anybody can send us a video. We would love to see these behaviors and show them. It is very easy to do on the website. So hopefully you'll send some things in and Mary can take a look at them. But that's going to do it for us. So I'm going to cut to Mary. Goodbye, Mary.
Bye-bye, Terry. Thank you so much. And everybody have a safe and healthy Memorial Day, please.